All right, we are on the air, I believe. I hope. Yeah, well, there it is. We are live on the air. The Loose Lug Nuts, Season 2, Episode 10. Richmond is the topic this weekend. Lots of exciting action in Richmond, or maybe not so much exciting action. It seemed like there was a lot of differing opinions on social media. But like it or bored with it, we will be talking all about it tonight. And I am joined by my co host, as always, Zachary Brandvold and Aaron Simmons. Zachary, his first show as a married man. He was away on the honeymoon last week. How are you, Zach, and how is married life?
Oh, let me put this down here. Maybe you guys can see me a little bit better. I'm doing well. Everything's going well. We got a house looks a lot better with a few more items, crucial items like maybe pots and pans. But overall, doing well. Doing well. Nothing. I don't think nothing fundamentally has changed. We already had a great relationship, but sorry, Adam Lauer. But we're doing well.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, welcome back as a married man. So, Simoleons, how are you this evening?
Doing all right. I can't say that I got married over the weekend, unfortunately. But hey, life's been pretty good. Really, nothing much has really changed as far as I am. But I'm ready to get into the action. I'm ready to talk about Richmond, and I'm ready to talk about Martinsville next week. So that's gonna be fun.
Night race at Martinsville. Short tracks under the
Gotta love
lights,
it.
but kind of back to NASCAR's roots. A Saturday night race under the lights. But all that we will cover in due time. First up, we got the Xfinity race to cover this weekend. And I think you are up to bat on that one, Aaron. So talk us through the Xfinity race at Richmond.
All right, so I can pretty much sum up the Xfinity race just by just a few words here. It was the Joe Gibbs show, featuring Ty Gibbs and John Hunter Nemechek. Because it seemed like all race, it was pretty much those two up front. I'm willing to bet the entire race. John Hunter Nemechek will lead a decent amount of laps. Then it'll turn over to Ty Gibbs and lead for a number of laps. Really, that's pretty much it for the Xfinity race. I'm not going to lie to you. There was only one caution during the race, and that was for Noah Gregson. His brakes just did not like Richmond, and so they decided just to take a day off and clock out and go home by just exploding in turn 3 and causing a debris caution. And that was pretty much the only caution for the day. Besides that, it was just still John Hunter Nemechek and Joe Gibbs. Still leading the field, being the class of the field, dominant all day. Allmendinger, and you got Josh Berry in there, and a few others trying to settle and debate who's going to take third place. But in the end, it was pretty much John Nemechek and Ty Gibbs battling out for the win. Gibbs being very aggressive towards the last 2 or 3 laps, trying to move John Nemechek out of the way, and ultimately he did, going down turn 3 side by side. Got Ty Gibbs on the bottom, John Hunter Nemechek on top, and Ty Gibbs just arguably missing the corner or may have gotten tight. You can debate on which one you want, but either way, Gibbs essentially just moves Nemechek up the track, leaving Gibbs as the winner. And Nemechek not too happy with Gibbs, making him, I think, the latest victim in Gibbs's rampage.
Okay, yeah. So lots of things I think you could talk about there at the end, but okay. First, John Hunter Nemechek and Ty Gibbs, they were teammates this race. So you've not just got one driver moving another, you got one teammate moving another. And, I understand it's the last lap and people do what they got to do for a win. But keep in mind what really struck me about this, John Hunter Nemechek raced his butt off to pass Ty Gibbs cleanly. Okay. To me, that earns you some measure of respect when it comes the other way. And I'm sorry, I don't buy the got tight or missed a corner. When I saw the replay, Ty Gibbs was nowhere near the white line that separates the track from the apron, and that's where you race at Richmond. He went anywhere close to it. To me, it was not he was tight or he missed the corner. To me, he drove through him. And I'm sitting here going, Ty Gibbs, he's made an enemy in Ryan Sieg. I think he's now made one in John Hunter Nemechek. We're pretty early in the season for him to start racking up enemies. The more I watch the kid, two things become apparent. One is he's extremely talented. The other is I don't like him at all. So
he certainly has
anyway, sorry, I had a lot to
shoulder.
say about that.
Oh no, you're fine. I mean, it certainly sounds like and looks like he's got a massive chip on his shoulder, and he's got this butt ton of talent, just like Kyle Busch, just like most of the drivers that came out of the Joe Gibbs camp. They're just extremely dominant, but it seems like they just have no patience whatsoever for anything.
Yeah. So Zach, you have anything to add about the Xfinity race?
I thought it was interesting. Looking back at it, I watched some replays. I questioned myself on Ty Gibbs' move, and I'm sure it's probably going to be brought up here a little bit later. But man, when you look at past races, I think one of the comparisons they showed was Carl Edwards' dump and run on Kyle Busch on the final corner, Richmond at 2016, I believe, where he raced him right and got into the back of him and pushed him up the track, but only a lane, and ran the bottom and ended up winning. And of course they were teammates then, but nowhere near what Ty Gibbs did, just completely missing the corner. Obviously in the interview, you can see that he said, "Oh, I wish I could have that one back," but what's done is done. And like you said, Tom, making enemies is not good, especially if you're an aspiring Cup Series driver. I think experience would definitely do him well, and I don't think it really lended himself very well at this past weekend at Richmond. John Hunter Nemechek did have the experience. He raced in Cup, he raced in trucks, he raced in Xfinity. He knows what he's doing, but and obviously, his words after the race definitely spoke true. So those are my 2 cents.
This whole, I'd like to have that back. That wears thin because he pretty much pulled the same crap with Ryan Sieg.
Right.
Right.
He's becoming
pretty much pulled the same thing there. That stuff wears thin. That's I think. But you know what? He's Joe Gibbs' grandson. He's not going to lose his ride over that. If Joe Gibbs has to make a decision between having Ty Gibbs drive for him and having John Hunter Nemechek, you know who the grandson is. You know he's going to get it. So he knows he can get away with it, and he's taken full advantage of that in more and more as the weeks go on. It seems like so.
Yeah. And I mean, at the same time, you got to look at it in John Hunter Nemechek's perspective. You can't let him get that close to you. I know he's hard charging. I know he's talented. He might be falling off. John Hunter Nemechek might be falling off, but you can't let him get to you because you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. So a little bit of devil's advocate in that scenario.
Yeah, but granted, those two had easily the best cars on the track all day Saturday. Yeah. They were dead even all day.
So, all right. If we're done with Xfinity, we had no truck race. I guess you are up to talk about the Cup race, Zach.
Absolutely. So, what an interesting race. I think we can all agree that this was probably the most strategic race as far as differing pit strategies that we saw at this Richmond race than we have had all season. But it had the usual suspects up front, like Blaney dominating most of stage 1 and 2, a partial of stage 2, but one stage 1. He's been dominating early in most of the races this season, but man, he just can't seem to find that win, that checkered flag. But regardless, Blaney dominated the first stage, led almost every single lap, except for the pit stops. And Chastain up there again. He didn't really qualify very well, but he ended up getting up there all the way up to second there in the first stage, which was awesome to see. Not only do they have the long run speed, as we can see, throughout the past couple races where they really tune their cars well. But they definitely seem to have the short run speed, and Chastain is literally carrying the team. We do see some of obviously Daniel Suarez, but Chastain seems to be up front early and often in most of the races, which is good to see. Harvick, Truex, and Kyle Busch all in the mix as well, slowly and steadily gaining momentum in stage 1. Elliott, however, falling back for the second race. I know he did fall back at Coda. He fell back again due to handling issues a little bit. Along with Chase Briscoe, he really dropped all the way to past I think 26. Not really good. Needed that first pit stop to get adjustments, and they ended up recovering pretty well. Guys, one thing that I did notice was the guys who ran the high side early tended to do well later in the run, regardless of tire wear. They seemed, whoever could pass cars, after they got single file on the outside, always seemed to have better long run, and were able to run that top lane late into the race as well. But not too many different strategies for stage 1, pretty straightforward. But as we get into stage 2, definitely saw a bunch of differing strategies by several teams and drivers. One thing I did notice was the Roush Fenway Keselowski group was very, very good at this track compared to previous. They both were mixing it in the top 10, which was nice to see, refreshing. Hopefully the spotters weren't having too difficulty of a time spotting for them because they had the same paint scheme. But they were both pretty neck and neck, which was nice to see. But like I said, stage 2 incorporating different strategies with both Bell and Hamlin trying to stay out longer to skip a stop. And that ended up working out pretty well for him, especially Bell. We saw this weekend that JGR was trying a new pit stops choreography that they were trying to incorporate. And spoiler alert, that ended up with the fastest 4-tire change in NASCAR with Kyle Busch's team with 9.94, I believe, which is pretty awesome. So that's part of the reason why I think both Bell and Hamlin ended up doing so well. But also, you could definitely tell that their long run speed was absolutely phenomenal during this race. All the Toyotas had stayed out longer than all the rest of the cars pretty much, bar Kyle Busch, who ended up, he was up front. He ended up pitting with the leaders a couple times. But they ended up staying out longer, and that helped them towards the end of the run. So actually, it was Truex who was chasing down Bell for the final, or the stage 2 win, and Truex won pretty handedly, but Bell had a pretty good gap on second. So definitely that longer run pace helped him out in that one. In the final stage, both Truex and Hamlin were able to pit way later than the race leader and dominator at the time with William Byron. He led a lot of laps in stage 3 due to a couple different cautions. But Hamlin was able to hunt him down after being almost 10 seconds down on the leader at one point, because he pitted way later than him and others. He was able to run him down and pass him for the win. So this is Hamlin's first top 10. Obviously, it's a win. It's his first top 10 on the season. And, that's interesting to see. Excuse me. That's interesting to see that his first top 10 is also his first win. So definitely an interesting race. We saw a lot of different strategies, like I said, and I think that this was the most strategic race that we've seen all season. And we saw a couple different cars mixing it up, but also we had early on our usual suspects who ended up not necessarily in contention for the win because of Toyota's dominant long run pace. But what did you guys see?
Samoan, you go first.
All right. I thought it was very interesting to kind of see. It wasn't necessarily a Joe Gibbs dominant race, like kind of what we all thought it was going to be. More or less, it was kind of Penske road digging it out and then Hendrick trying to steal the win from him. But you know what? In the end, it seemed like Hamlin had finally kind of broken that JGR curse this season of drivers just being really good, and then all of a sudden, bad fortune happens to them, and they end up finishing, like sub top 15. So Hamlin had finally kind of found something in that car to kind of reel down, guys like William Byron and Martin and their teammate Martin Truex Jr. and finally get a win for JGR this season in the Cup Series. And so I think this race really is kind of that spark that JGR needs this season to show that yes, their cars do have speed. Yes, they do have the talent to get races done. They're not done yet. And so I think this race really showed more of JGR than what it really did for Penske and Hendrick, even though Blaney, come on, man. It seems like bad fortune is following Blaney this season.
This reminds me of Ryan Blaney's 2020 season. In 2020, he won a lot of stages, and he was really fast and had dominant cars in stage 1 and 2 at several racetracks, but either didn't get the right adjustments in, couldn't keep up with track changes, whatever happened, but he wasn't there in stage 3. This is kind of reminding me a little bit of that, but we're early enough in the season. Maybe we'll see it get turned around. The whole thing of stage 2 and 1 stop versus 2 stops, I thought was really interesting. After last year, if you remember, we saw Brad Keselowski get taken out of contention because he tried to go on 1 stop, wound up a lap down, and was never able to get back on the lead lap. After seeing that happen last year, I didn't think anybody would try that this year. I thought everybody would go with 2 stops, but we didn't. And for some, it worked out. For some others, like Eric Jones, it didn't. A couple of interesting things. One is, I saw a lot on social media of divided opinions. Some people thought the race was really boring because you had all these green flag pit stops. You didn't have a lot of wrecks. You didn't have hardly any cautions. And I think Zach hit the nail on the head. It was a very strategic race. There was a lot of strategy involved in this one, which I find interesting. The other thing, and maybe I'm wrong, but I missed the night races at Richmond. And night races, and you could see the rotors glowing on the cars, and you knew how much they were using the brakes. I miss seeing that. And Simoleon's brought up a good point when we were talking over the weekend. Man, the cars look slow. Just visually watching them on the track, whether it's the size of the track, the position of the cameras, the angle there. If Simoleon said, man, these cars look like they're going 60 miles an hour, and they did. You didn't get on TV the sensation of speed that I feel like you get at other tracks, which took away from some of the excitement, in my opinion, which I don't know what you do about that, but any television never truly does justice to the speed, but at Richmond, it seemed like it was especially pronounced. One semi story that's never been reported as news, but people talk about that I wanted to get you guys' take on. Alan Gustafsson and Chase Elliott. And apparently the things really went bad for Chase after the last pit stop, and people who monitor the radio said that Alan Gustafsson made a comment that said, when Chase was saying the car's really bad, he said, yeah, I know what's wrong. I'll tell you after the race. That he wouldn't talk about it on the radio, and apparently has never made any official statement. And speculation is that maybe they put the right side tires on left and left on right, and that's why the handling was so bad on the car. But it was very interesting that Alan Gustafsson knew what was wrong, like immediately knew, but did not want to say it over the air. Did you guys hear any of that from any of the people you talked to, or anything on social media? And do you have any thoughts on what it might be?
This is the first time I'm hearing about this, and knowing how Alan is, he's very technical with the car. I would imagine that he didn't. I don't know. I mean, it's possible that it could have been a complete mix-up with the tires. Tires are basically everything with the car. It's possible he could have mixed them up and all the ensuing chaos and the strategy, but that seems very unlikely from Alan.
It seems like there's no reason to not just say that too. The question that I had was this something illegal in the car?
Probably.
Was it something that was that they were going to get docked points or fined for or whatever, and that's why he didn't want to say it out loud?
Yep.
Look, anytime that you see or hear, I'll talk to you after the race about it. Or there's several cases where we've heard where people like code names and stuff like that over the radio. I have no reason to believe that it's tires. If there were, it's not something that you would really want to keep private. This has to be something maybe in the engine, something throttle related, braking related, something like that. They don't want to give any other teams an advantage, obviously. So that's why they're not going to say it over the radio. Regardless if it's an illegal or not. I mean, it's smart. Either way.
It has to be illegal.
But yeah, I definitely think it's something probably illegal, something that they have an advantage over. I thought this is the first time hearing about it too, so it's pretty awesome to hear. And obviously, he did struggle a lot throughout the race, so that's interesting to note and compare to his other teammates as well. So
yeah, apparently Gustafsson said this after the final pit stop, which made people question, was it tires? Is something unique to that pit stop? But I also questioned, is it something that was illegal? Earl brings up a good point. Didn't this happen to Truex in the last time they had a championship race at Homestead, but they were able to catch it, and he came back in and got the tires on the right sides. But yeah, that happened to Truex, but slightly different circumstances, because I think they were still under yellow or something, and he could come back and get the tires swapped without losing a lap. But yeah, it happened to Truex, and they owned it. They knew what it was. They said, this is it. And they were able to fix it. But if it's tires, I don't know why you keep that such a secret.
Right. I mean, typically,
unless you just are afraid you're going to get roasted on social media.
Right. Typically, they label the tires though, right? Sometimes.
I feel like they would, because there's no way to differentiate between lefts or rights.
Is that something illegal that NASCAR would penalize them for? Putting the wrong set of tires on the wrong side?
I don't know.
Probably.
So if it was, then it's something that we probably would hear about already by now.
I believe it docked Richard Petty. I think maybe once for having that on having less on rights and rights on lefts. I think one time NASCAR did catch that, but they didn't call it because Richard Petty.
Yeah.
So imagine they would call it if they found out it was intentional. Which if Alan's saying hey, I know what's wrong with it, I'll tell you at the race, and not hey come on down pit road, I know it's wrong, we'll change it. That's something that sounds like criminal intent to me.
Well, there's no advantage there's a comment here from Adam. There's no advantage to putting the left sides on the right. It makes your car handle much worse. So I don't know why that would be illegal, but because
I guess
it's only making you slower. But
I guess
of course, Adam may be pulling our chain too.
Yeah, I think he's pulling our chain. That's definitely a joke.
So anyway, but I thought the strategy was really. I really enjoyed the strategy part of the race.
Me too.
People doing the two stops versus one stop, and how late do you come for your last pit stop? It was definitely the crew chiefs played a huge role in this one.
I agree. I think a lot of people think that it's boring for the strategic races. Look, it's a short track race. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more exciting than a normal race. They always say that the short track, they say Daytona, but short track is the greatest equalizer. And I think we definitely saw that. We've seen that Toyotas have struggled in the mile and a mile and a half. And at the short track, they had amazing long run speed. I thought it was amazing to see. I thought that they rebounded very well. Pretty much piss poor season, if we're being honest. But yeah.
All right. I think we have covered that. So we are now up to news. So Zach, take us through the news stories.
Yeah, not very many news stories this week, but we got a couple big ones. So NASCAR explains Kyle Busch tape penalty at Richmond. So basically, for those who are not aware, Kyle Busch's team at around, I want to say lap 199. They came in for a pit stop or around in and around there, and they accidentally put tape on the grill instead of the brake duct coverings. And NASCAR only permits teams to put tape on the brake duct coverings, not on the grill. So they basically are they disqualified him. And they're talking, or currently the 18 team is talking about appealing it. And basically they said since they put it on the grill, that's why they got the penalty. But it's still, the 18 team is arguing that because it was on there for so long, that it shouldn't be that big of a penalty before. So what are you guys' thoughts on this, Aaron?
I think NASCAR is taking way too many lessons here from Fox and like delaying kind of when they should call something. Because like you said, that was according to this article, on lap 128, the tape was applied. And they did not call it for another 200 something laps afterward. And guys, keep in mind, if you didn't watch the race, of course the grill is completely black. And the tape is neon green and red. How do you miss that? How do you miss that for that long? And NASCAR is saying that they did their due diligence and wanted to look at the pit stop to see if they really did apply it or if it was debris. And 200 laps later, they found out that they applied it. But I think it's just NASCAR trying to cover their ass, because there's no way you can miss that. Surely, with all the cameras that NASCAR has and the broadcast booth has, that they didn't know about that immediately. And I mean, you can make the argument that the tape was so small to where there is no way that could benefit anything. But this is NASCAR. I mean, arrow means everything. Even to the smallest of a tenth, it means something. And so I guess it could benefit him, but I don't see how it could benefit them that much. I mean, for such a very small piece of tape.
Yeah.
So I think disqualifying is complete BS.
Wait a minute.
I don't see
I'm reading the story. Was he disqualified from the race? I thought he just had to serve a penalty during the race. I'm trying to look at the story here. I don't see where they said he was disqualified.
He never served a penalty. They never assessed a penalty in the race. They're assessing a black flag after. So that's why.
I'm caught up now. Okay,
Yeah.
I was missing that.
Yeah, and honestly, if you look at it, the tape was applied on lap 128, right? Race control knew about it on lap 234. And then it took an additional 111 laps for the penalty to be called after that.
Yeah.
This to me is just another blown call by NASCAR where they're making themselves look like idiots. Okay. Because you assess this on lap 128 when you see it, it's stage 2. He has a chance either at the end of the stage or through one of the cautions to kind of get himself back in position. You wait till lap 334, you have pretty much ruined the man's race, because his race got ruined because of NASCAR's incompetence. This is just NASCAR looks like a bunch of idiots here. And last year they had a number of calls that I thought they blew, and this is another one. And I'm like, it's a short track. You can see the cars all the way around. They have 100 cameras and 100 officials around. And oh, by the way, you're standing there in the pits. Go up and ask the crew chief, where did you put the tape? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I don't know, man. With Fox's
this is just awful from NASCAR, in my opinion.
It is.
If their camera works anything like Fox, then I don't know if they would have ever seen it. So,
which is why I can make the comparison between Fox and NASCAR this race. Oh, and by the way, I did the math. Okay, so on lap 128 to 234, that is, let me pull it up here, 106 laps that they found that they in between when the tape was allegedly applied to when NASCAR finally saw the damn thing.
There has to be a pit stop in there. And
Oh,
keep
there
in
was a
mind, they
stage
haven't.
break. You
they
had
keep it-
8
Yeah,
or
a stage
10
break.
laps under caution at a stage break.
Keep in
Keep in
mind, they
mind.
have an official down right next in each and every single pit stall. Each and every single pit stall. You're telling me that guy didn't even look. First of all, didn't even look at the tape being applied at the wrong area, right? Because he's supposed to be looking at the car for any illegal crap, right? And not to mention every single other time that he came down. That's
Yeah.
bull
Oh,
crap.
and not to mention the tape is neon green and red on a black surface.
That too.
Not that hard to miss.
It stands out. I
And
mean, I'm looking at a
you know
picture of
what?
the pit stop.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch has been pretty outspoken about a lot of things, some of which are related to NASCAR. Nowhere at no time has he ever had a more legitimate complaint than right now.
I agree.
I mean, it's this
Yeah.
is NASCAR
and-
just looks like the Keystone Cops here on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, the 106 laps in between from when the pit stop, when the tape was applied to NASCAR finally seeing it, it took another 217 laps for NASCAR to finally call the 18 and black flag him. 217 laps total if they could have brought had the black flag.
Adam, you always know how to make me flustered. If it isn't NASCAR, it's you. Anyway, we could talk.
Sorry, but too late. He's married.
Yeah, sorry. We could be talking about that one all day, but let's move on to the next one. Haley Deegan misses a race, the Freedom 500, I believe it's called. Could be wrong on that number, but I read it earlier today. Due to life-threatening comments aimed at her boyfriend. So apparently, long story short, there was this stalker that ended up getting catfished by the wrong Haley Deegan, somebody else who made a fake account based on her. And all of a sudden, she has this guy who keeps contacting her and contacting her boyfriend, and sent an 8-page letter to her team, Front Row Motorsports, or I'm sorry, David Gilligan Racing, excuse me, and about how he is her longtime lover and yada yada yada. Anyway, so long story short, this guy threatens Haley Deegan's boyfriend's life, and that is how she ended up skipping that Freedom 500 race after that stalker fan boyfriend or pseudo boyfriend looking thing.
Stalker.
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 Essentially. And basically gets, I mean, anybody would be startled at that kind of thing and shocked. And so, I mean, this is kind of concerning for her and for her safety. Hopefully it gets sorted out. But what are your guys' thoughts on this, Tom?
Before we get to that, I want to give a shout out to James Lauer, I believe, Adam Lauer's little brother. Adam says James is tuning in. He shares the show with him. So, James, thank you for tuning in, buddy. Appreciate the support. Keep Adam in line for us if you can.
Yeah, please do.
Yes.
You know, for this guy to believe that he's communicating with the real Haley Deegan, okay, and then to take it so far to make these kind of a threats and write, this is not some offhand comment where somebody makes some post on social media that says, that guy ever touches Haley Deegan, I'll kill him, or something like that. This is an 8-page letter. This guy is seriously got some mental problems. I would guess that there was more to it than what is being made public. I read that they talked to NASCAR security, that they involved the FBI. I would guess that somebody, who is in that business, either NASCAR security, the FBI, or local authorities, somebody advised her that, she probably ought to skip the race. That would be my guess. But man, this is crazy. And I mean, and I would guess that there is something more to this that makes it much more legitimate and much more dangerous than what we're saying. because somewhere in the story I read where Haley made a comment, or maybe it was in the video she put out about it, that she's dealt with stalkers before. So this is not like the first time somebody has decided they had a thing for Haley Deegan and took it too far. So I am not, gonna say she's a drama queen here. I am guessing there is probably more to it than what is being shared, and the threat was probably more significant than maybe we're understanding, because she said she's dealt with stalkers before, and this dude seems like he's seriously out there. So
yeah. What about
so
you?
anyway, that's I hate it for Haley, but I don't question her decision.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, she's a race car driver. A race car driver will do literally anything to get into a seat in a race car and race. That is their sole purpose in life, is to race. And if something is preventing you from getting into a seat, from getting you into a race car, then that something must be pretty serious. And I mean, we've seen Haley Deegan on the track in SRX. We saw her in the Truck Series, and I'm not sure about her other events that weren't televised. I'm sorry, but I haven't really been keeping up with Haley Deegan too much, other than her NASCAR and SRX stuff. But I just figure if this has got to be something that is completely and utterly serious for her to step away from race car for a little bit. And I mean, if it was an 8-page letter like she's claiming it is, and according to this article, he said, and I quote, his official words were not that he's going to kill her boyfriend Chase, but that he's going to come ... and be the last thing Chase ever sees. That is that is a death threat. That is an absolute death threat down to the letter. And so, if I'm Haley Deegan, I don't blame her for missing that race. I mean, I hope that none of the guys is behind bars for forever. And so yeah, no, I'm not saying that she's doing this for drama. I think this is completely serious. Just because she missed the race. If she was at the race, then I'd be a little more skeptical. But if she decided to miss the race, and again, race car drivers' full purpose for on life is to go out and race and win races. If something is preventing her from not going to the racetrack, then it's pretty serious, in my opinion.
Yeah. This is a crazy situation. Super messed up. I mean, if you look at if you listen to some of the audio in her clip that you see in the article, this guy is scary. I mean, even to me, and I would be scared if I got that kind of message. I mean, if you look at it, it says the messages have gotten progressively worse. When you get tagged in pictures of guns, knives, and literally by the hour, this guy is getting very persistent on social media, maybe over 100 times per day, getting tagged in pictures of guns and knives and other stuff. It's like, what? I mean, yeah, I would fear for my safety. I would fear for my family's safety in that scenario. I think she's doing the right thing. Hopefully, and when you're thinking about this kind of stuff that stays with you, it's a scary situation, life or death situation. That stuff sticks with you in the back of your mind, even when you're driving. In her case, even when you're driving a race car, that stuff is going to stick with you. You got to get your mind right in that scenario, and I hope that she does. I hope she takes as long as she needs, but I hope it doesn't really affect her NASCAR starts. But we'll see. I mean, this is a crazy situation. And there are some effed up people out in the world, but I don't blame her at all.
No, and that's the risk you take with being publicly famous. You get people that hate you, and then some people that are like that. And
unfortunately,
I mean, that's one of your childhood dreams, to be rich and famous. Now that I'm grown up, I'd rather be rich than famous.
Yeah.
Just
take me out of the spotlight. Know anything about the event, the Freedom 500, where it's at, what kind of cars they're running?
It's down in Florida. It's down like Banshee, Florida, I believe it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
redneck
probably-
Daytona race, essentially.
Yeah.
Mike, she skipped the Freedom 500.
It's 21 NOS equipped Crown
I
Vics.
don't think that's the same race.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Because you look at that clip that I saw, that's some guy doing it. There's an entry list for that, and there's like the names are like Rick and Bobby and Carl. It's not like Haley Deegan isn't on there.
I thought that it was some weird
That's
type
right,
of car.
just look
Well,
at
because you probably skipped it. That's probably why. So she probably said, "Yeah, I'm not going to race that race. You can take me off."
Yeah, it
Well,
says that's it.
maybe that is
Summit
it.
Racing Equipment Freedom 500.
Okay.
Friday, April 1st, 2022, Braden in Florida. 20 drivers piloting their nitrous-equipped Crown Vics 100 laps around the one and only Freedom Factory in Bradenton.
The Freedom Factory, gotta love it.
Okay, so the fact that we're not at some huge sophisticated venue that has a lot of security makes me even more understanding of why she skipped it. I mean, one of the things that always struck me, you go to a local dirt track race, the tow vehicles are there, the trailers are there, everything is open. When a guy goes out and races his car, somebody could walk into his trailer and rob him blind while he's out running the feature race. There's nobody there to stop you from doing anything. So yeah, it seems like it would probably be pretty easy for this guy to sneak in and get easy close access to Haley.
Yeah.
So,
but anyway, next, our final biggest news story of the night.
On a lighter side.
Yes, on the lighter side. We're probably going to have some differing opinions on this one. Hopefully everyone guesses the right answer. But NASCAR announces the 2023 Hall of Fame class. And then, which 5 do you think should be in it? So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you get 3 from the modern era ballot and then 2 from the pioneer ballot, right?
I believe so.
Okay. So your, let's see here, modern era ballot, you have Neil Bonnet, won 18 times in the NASCAR Cup Series, including consecutive Coca-Cola 600 victories. Tim Brewer, 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion crew chief. Jeff Burton, 21-time NASCAR winner, including the Southern 500 and the Coca-Cola 600, or 2 Coca-Cola 600s. Carl Edwards, winner of 28 NASCAR Cup Series races, and the 2007 Xfinity Series champion. Harry Gant, winner of 18 Cup Series races, including 2 Southern 500s. Harry Hyde, 1970 NASCAR Cup Series championship crew chief. Matt Kenseth, 2003 Cup Series champion, as well as 39 Cup races. Larry Phillips, first 5-time NASCAR Weekly Series champion. And Ricky Rudd, won 23 times in NASCAR Cup Series, including the 1997 Brickyard 400, as well as I think he owns the record for the most starts, 907. And then Kirk Shelmerdine, I think I'm saying that wrong, 4-time NASCAR Cup Series crew chief champion. Excuse me. Out of those, Aaron, who do you think should be in it? Pick 3.
This is tough. This is a loaded class. I mean, already off the bat, you got Neil Bonnet. You've already got Harry Gant, who, if Harry Gant is not in the Hall of Fame, I'm going to be mad. Just because I believe he's the oldest driver to ever win a NASCAR race. I believe so, at like 55, 56, somewhere around there. You got Ricky Rudd. I mean, Iron Man Ricky Rudd. I mean, why would you not have him in there? And then of course, got guys that were, from my time during, like the quote unquote golden era of NASCAR. You got Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, who was kind of in there later, but still, still a household name. And then you got like just championship crew chiefs like Tim Brewer, obviously, and then Kirk. I'm sorry, I don't know who Kirk is. I'm sorry. And then Harry Hyde. But if I had to pick 3, I got to go Neil Bonnet. I got to go Harry Gant. And possibly Ricky Rudd. If I were to pick 3.
All right. What about you, Tom?
I think you got to go Matt Kenseth. I think Matt Kenseth has won more races than any other driver not in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure because I haven't had a chance to look at this. Because I really did want to look at him, and I didn't, so I'm a little unprepared. Kirk Shelmerdine, I believe, wasn't he the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt when he was in his prime? I think his last championship maybe was with Andy Petrie, but I thought those 4 championships came with Dale Earnhardt. Somebody might want to fact check me on that, but that makes a pretty
fact checking right now.
Strong case if that's the role that I think he played. And
Yep, in 1982 he joined RCR to become the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt had 46 wins, 102 top 5 finishes, 246 top 10 finishes with Shelmerdine on route to 4 championships in 86, 87, 90, and 91.
So that's 46 out of 76 wins. That's almost 2/3 of Dale Earnhardt's wins coming with Kirk Shelmerdine as crew chief. I think you got to go with him. I think you got to go with Matt Kenseth. And, man, I don't know who to pick as the third. I think
it's such a loaded class.
Harry Gant, awfully strong. I don't see how you can not have Carl Edwards in there. Harry Hyde may have been a 1970 Cup Series champion, but I think he was a guy who launched a lot of careers. Like, I think he got Tim Richmond his first win. I think there were 3 or 4 notable drivers that Harry Hyde was their crew chief for their first win and kind of helped them make a name for themselves. So I don't know if I've got to pick. And let's not forget, Harry Hyde was who the character Harry Hogg was based on in the movie Days of Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to pick, if I got to pick one of those, I would actually have to come down back to Ricky Rudd probably, though, if I had to pick one of them.
Interesting.
In the Pioneer, though, if I got to pick 2, I'd go probably AJ Foyt and Ralph Moody, just because AJ Foyt really did a lot for the sport by making it more mainstream when you had an Indy guy coming over and running NASCAR. I think he did a lot for the popularity of the sport. And Ralph Moody was an engineering genius. He brought a lot of innovations. So if I'd have to pick 2, those are probably the 2 I'd go with there.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to go different than you guys. Neil Bonnet is definitely in there, 100%.
I agree.
NASCAR legend. I'm telling you, Jeff Burton and Carl Edwards are definitely getting in there. So is Matt Kenseth. I would say, I definitely would say Neil Bonnet, Harry Gant, and then for my last one, dang. I mean, that's a tough one. I would say,
It's tough, isn't it? It's tough.
I would probably say Matt Kenseth.
If you narrowed it down to in that top list, if you had to narrow it down to 5, it's still tough. I mean,
yes.
I mean, it's going to be tough every year. Jeff Burton, Carl Edwards, in my opinion,
absolutely
deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. But
all right, viewers, who have you guys got going in there? Mike Hora says the Martinsville incident will hurt Kenseth. No, I don't think so. If he did that to Bill Elliott or Richard Petty or somebody, maybe you could make a case for it. But he did to Joey Logano.
Dude, it's Logano. Who cares about Logano? Nobody. At that point, he earned he earned that.
Yeah.
That was just
and
payback.
I also like to say, whenever your name becomes a verb, that's significant. And that's what happened that day. That's when Kenseth became a verb. That's when it became, I'll Kenseth your ass. So that's significant. That added to his legacy.
Really did. I agree.
Yeah, and again, throughout Matt Kenseth's career, he's always been the cool, calm, collected guy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a car to come back in one piece and still run to the absolute limit, you get Matt Kenseth.
Yeah.
And if you've done enough to piss off Kenseth, then you have earned everything that came your way. So Matt Kenseth, I don't think that Martinsville race is going to hurt him whatsoever. In fact, I think it'll boost him, if anything. But
yeah.
I think with this, everyone on this list is going to get in at least some point. I mean,
Is there a limit
just
for how
too
long you
loaded.
can be on there? How many times you can be nominated?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh.
Okay, I was just wondering. But anyway, that is the news for this week. Interesting little tidbits, but we move on. I digress.
All right, Aaron, you up? Who's hot? Who's not?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go once my laptop decides to cooperate here. God, I need a computer.
Okay, while you're looking that up, Zach, is that your real house behind you, or is that a green screen?
That's my real house. Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on, maybe I can show
lucky.
you. So that's my racing.
There's the old 21.
And then you got this wall back here. Goes all the way.
That looks nice, man. That looks real nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool that they built it. Just makes it an absolute pain in the ass to to paint over because
don't
it's
do
off
not
the
paint
wall.
over that.
Or not paint over, paint in between because all the other houses or all the other walls, excuse me, are pretty dull and in bad shape. So when we go to paint,
never paint over that.
It's gonna make it pretty bad, but we loved it. We loved it a lot.
All right. Laptop has finally decided to cooperate, and so for my who is hot this week, I got to go JGR. I mean, especially with their cup win finally, trying to get the Montgolfier back for this season, and of course, just absolutely dominating the Xfinity race. I got to go JGR for who is hot this week at Richmond. Who is not, already stated it before, going with NASCAR for just being absolutely blind and incompetent once again. I mean, how the hell do you not spot neon green tape over a black surface for 200-something laps? How do you not?
I see nothing.
Just looking like friggin' NFL refs out there. But anyway, that is my who's hot and who's not this week. Tom, you want to go next?
Actually, can you go to Zach?
Sure.
Because I didn't see what you wrote down. I was going to say JGR, so I'm scrambling now.
Well, I was also going to say JGR, but then I changed mine up. So
beat you both.
We all had the same type of thing going on. I'm gonna go with who's hot and who's actually hot. So those are my two. As far as who's hot, I would say anybody who Ross Chastain is in front of or in behind. Excuse me. Ross Chastain has got into 2 run-ins now, and this is not to mention the countless run-ins that he's had over the course of the season where he's been maybe a tad bit over-aggressive. Last race, last lap, maybe it was all right. I would still say that maybe it was a little bit too much, but still okay. At last lap, first win, sure. Then he goes back and incidental run up the track with Ryan Blaney. Absolutely destroys him into turn 1. Nearly puts him into the wall. Luckily, he was able to gather it, though. And I believe Fox didn't show it, but Ryan Blaney got payback to him. But, man, it has seemed like Ross Chastain has been on a mission. Yes, he's been fast. Yes, I like him as a person. But he has been a little bit too hot-headed lately, it seems like. And so that's my who's hot. As far as who's actually hot, I have to go with Ryan Blaney. Even though he's not getting wins here, he is still your points leader, tied with Chase Elliott. In 7 starts, he has 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s, along with 3 stage wins. Only Martin Truex Jr. has as many stage wins as Ryan Blaney does. Everyone else has either 2 or 1. Only one person has 2, and then the rest of the drivers in the field only have 1. So he has been very hot. Most recently, he's been opening races very fast. He's been winning stages. And generally, if he's not around the win, he's going to be in the top 10. So it's good to see him dominating the way he has been. Hopefully he can get a win on the season and actually punch through his ticket into the playoffs and not have to use points. So we'll see if that happens. But that is who's hot and who's actually hot for this week.
Okay. All right. Adam Lauer saying he's hot because he picked Hamlin to win last week. Mike Horace saying Chastain is kind of like Robbie Gordon in the early 2000s. I don't know if I'd go quite that far. I think he's got a ways to go before he enters Robbie Gordon territory.
No,
I mean, someday we're going to have to dedicate time to Robbie Gordon and some of his antics. Robbie Gordon was a guy who ignored the starting order because he was mad at the leader and ran up beside the leader under yellow flag, waited on him to go green, and then wrecked the leader. Robbie is a guy who ignored a black flag and said, nope, I'm leading the race. I'm going to stay out here even though I've been black flagged. Robbie Gordon is in a whole another dimension, in my opinion, as far as bad boys of NASCAR. But
yeah. I mean, if you think Kyle Busch is bad and you think Ty Gibbs is bad, Robbie Gordon says, hold my beer. He is that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Incredible talent. But he makes Kyle Busch look safe.
Oh yeah.
My God, by a long shot.
My who's hot and who's not. My who's hot. I'm going with John Hunter Nemechek. He's not full time in the Xfinity series, but he did have a great run here at Richmond. He brought it home 5th at Phoenix. He had some trouble at Atlanta, and even though he was 2 laps down, he was up front running with the leaders up there at the end of the race. Actually helped decide who won the race by deciding to go with, and I'm blanking out on the name, instead of his other teammate. But I'm saying John Hunter Nemechek is extremely hot right now. Looking back on it, having Anthony Alfredo jump into the ride that he had in the Cup Series may have been the best thing that ever happened to him. Because since he has got out of Cup, we have realized that he can actually drive much better than probably what we realized. And we've also realized that equipment he was in at the time was probably much worse than what we thought. So I am going with John Hunter Nemechek as who is hot right now. As far as who is not, unfortunately, I'm going with all of us. We got 3 viewers. It's been a month since we've had more than 5 viewers. We put a lot into this show. And man, apparently we've only got a couple of friends out there. I think the last time we had 5 viewers, one of them was Simolian's mom, and the other one that made it number 5 was Zach's wife. So I don't know what we're doing wrong, but we are definitely not hot right now. I remember last season we used to get 15 viewers, so something's going on, but we are definitely in the not hot category. So that is what I got for who's hot and who's not. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And on a somber note, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, green flag, red flag.
Right.
This is you, Aaron.
All right. Trying to bring more, I guess, controversy and debate back into the show. And guys, please go ahead and comment green flag or red flag if you agree or disagree with these statements. Number 1 of the night, did Rudy Fugle make a mistake by not taking tires for William Byron at the end of the race? That was a hot topic for the end of the race, for that strategy call. I guess try to play it, and it did not work. So, green flag or red flag, did Rudy Fugle cost Byron yet another win? Zach, we'll go with you first.
I think William Byron had the track position. Man. I wouldn't say so. In my opinion, I would not say so. It just seemed like the Toyotas had better long run speed. They were able to stay out. They had better strategy as far as that goes. I wouldn't say that. I think they made because towards the end of the race, you could tell William Byron was losing a little bit of time, and he pitted when around in that area, and Toyotas were just able to run a little bit longer. In my opinion, I don't think it was. I don't think it was a Randy Fugal mistake. I think it was just more of other cars were faster.
Okay. Tom, what do you think?
It's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback and say he got ran down at the end and he lost the race. So it was a bad call. So I do think it was a bad call, but I'm kind of with Zach in that in the moment and at the time the call was made and the information you had, I don't know that I can fault him a whole lot. It's easy to look back and say, oh yeah, you should have done it different because you lost the race. But I just don't know that with the information he had and with when everybody else was pitting and with how the race was playing out, I don't know that at the time he made the call, it was a bad call. This is like, if you're 4th and 1 at the 1 yard line and you hand the ball off and you get stuffed, it's easy to say, oh yeah, you should have gone play action. Well, it's easy to say that because it didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say red flag because I don't know that it cost him the win. I don't think this is as clear cut as Pocono last year, where he left him out there. And then when he had like 3 laps of fuel left, he said, hey, you got to save fuel. I don't think it's clear cut like that, like it's a bad call. But yeah, I'm going to go on Rudy Fugel's side here and say red flag. I disagree. I don't think it was that bad.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna say red flag too. Again, we're kind of with that thought philosophy of at the time it was probably a good idea just to try it, see if it works. If not, then oh well, probably weren't gonna win the race anyway. But just to try, see what happens. I mean, if the race is like 10 laps shorter, it probably would have worked, but unfortunately it wasn't. So I gotta go. So yeah. It didn't work, so I'm gonna go red flag. I'll join you guys with that. And looks like we've got Adam Lauer saying green flag, but they said but red because I want to rub Denny Hamlin thing in your face some more. Okay, Adam, thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks. You didn't have to say that, man. We're already hurting as it is. All right, so green flag, red flag, number 2 of the night. Ty Gibbs is the next Kyle Busch. In both the good and the bad sense. Green flag or red flag? Tom, I'll start with you.
I'm going to say green flag. I think he is a generational talent, kind of like Kyle Busch was. I think he is extremely aggressive, a la Kyle Busch. I think he's going to do whatever he's got to do to make a move to win a race. He's there to collect trophies and not make friends, similar to Kyle Busch. I think the difference is Kyle Busch has got, for lack of a better way of saying, Kyle Busch has got more balls. Kyle Busch will straight up tell you, you raced me like a jackass, so you're damn straight I moved you out of the way. He will just tell it like it is, whether you want to hear it or not. I feel like Ty Gibbs has not got that part of the Kyle Busch. That he's gonna do it and then say, "Oh, I really wish I had that one back. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, he's got that. Yeah, I'll do it. Then I'll act like I'm sorry about it, which makes me hate him even more. So overall, I'm going to say green flag. But I just wish, you know what? If you're going to be the bad guy, then own it like Kyle Busch does. Don't be the bad guy and then try to say, oh, I really didn't mean to do that. I just missed the corner. No. If you're going to be the bad guy, just own it. That's the one thing you got to say about Kyle Busch is he's never shied away from anything. So I'll go green flag overall. Sorry, a lot to say on that one.
All right, Zach, what do you think?
Green. I think he is everything except the cursing for both the Bush brothers. Is everything except the cursing. He doesn't curse pretty much at all. But no, it's funny to see the as you pointed out, Tom, the parody between these two. It'll be interesting to see how he plays out. I mean, Kyle Busch was the prodigal son. Came over to JGR, dominated, and although Ty Gibbs had the fortune of running in Joe Gibbs equipment for most of his career, all of his career, he still seems to be the person who is pretty dominant anywhere he goes. As seen last season, seen this season. So I gotta say green flag on that one.
Yeah, I'm going green flag too. I mean, besides like the Candyman sponsorship, I think it's green flag all the way. I think we're seeing the splitting edge of I guess Kyle Busch 2.0 in NASCAR. I mean, take it for what you will, but it's too damn similar. The drive styles are similar. The aggressiveness is similar, but Ty Gibbs seems like he just doesn't want to admit that he's a bad guy, and he wants to play kind of this young innocent guy who keeps making these rookie mistakes and keeps trying to apologize for stuff that he, at this point, I don't think believes it himself and just trying to say it for the media. So yeah, I'm saying green flag. I think Kyle Busch is the original's better. But on that note, for green flag, red flag, last one of the night, and let's see. And I think Earl is also in agreement with us. So thank you, Earl. Actually, Earl's saying red. Just now saying that.
Was that on the last one?
I believe it is for this one.
Okay.
So Earl, very curious as to why you're saying red.
No, he was saying that for the last one, I believe.
Oh, for the Rudy Fiegel thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. All right, last one of the night. We're staying on the Ty Gibbs thing because that seems to be the best, the most talked about one this week. Will the John Hunter Nemechek and Ty Gibbs rivalry be a thing in the Xfinity series? Green flag or red flag, Zach? Take it away.
I mean, it depends. I mean, this year they don't really. John Hunter Nemechek is not really racing a lot, so he's racing some, but he's not racing every single race. He's not in the championship for the Xfinity Series race, so I don't know if that'll be a big rivalry. Will Ty Gibbs stay next season, or will he get an offer for the Cup Series? I personally think that's too soon. Maybe. Will John Hunter Nemechek move up to the Cup Series or move up to the Xfinity Series? I don't know. I would say red flag for right now. I think it's too soon to say that's going to be a big rivalry when they're not even racing the same series. But if they do get a chance to race against each other, same team, I still don't think so. I think Gibbs is going to have to calm them down. If they're on a different team, I definitely think they'll have a rivalry for sure, if they're both competitive.
Okay. All right, Tom, what do you think?
Zach makes pretty much excellent points. I pretty much agree with that. Yeah, it's the fact that they aren't racing there all the time together because John Hunter is only part-time in the Xfinity, I think, for a very limited number of races. And when he does race there, he is going to be Ty Gibbs' teammate. So I think that that's gonna defuse the rivalry. And rivalries are made out of contact and conflict, and they're not around each other enough to have either one of those. So I'm going to say red flag for pretty much the same reasons that Zach came up with.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and different guys. I think it's going to be green flag, but it may not be this season. It could be next season, potentially kind of where the cards lie. Because even though Ty has a lot more to race for in terms of championship, in terms of a win, John Nemechek is just racing for a win, and he got screwed out of a win, possibly. And of course, what Darrell Waltrip always says, drivers never forget. And Nemechek made that very clear in his post-race interview that he will not forget this. And so I think if given the opportunity to race Ty again, Nemechek will potentially move him out of the way. Maybe not once, but maybe a few times, because Ty wasn't just like a one-shot, a bump and run go. It was more like, I will beat the back bumper off of your car to get ahead of you. He made that obviously clear. And so with that, I think Nemechek is going to remember this, if and when they do meet again on the track, and it may turn into a thing. So I'm going to say green flag.
Earl is saying John Hunter is at most an Xfinity driver. Earl, I'm not sure. 2 years ago, I would have agreed with you. Based on what I saw him doing in the 38 at the Cup level, I would have absolutely agreed with you. Seeing what he is doing in good equipment, I'm not sure that Xfinity is the cap for him. I am really extremely impressed with what I've seen out of him when he's been in good equipment. So I'm not sure that Xfinity is the cap for him.
Oh man, people forget how well he did in the 38 in his 2 seasons. He was a top 20 at the very least contender, and then you saw the previous or the next 2 seasons with I forget who the other one was.
Anthony Alfredo was last year. I don't know who they had before that.
I don't know who they had before that. It could have been just Anthony Alfredo, but man, they were absolutely god awful before and after John Hunter Nemechek came in there, and they were a contender. I mean, there were talks throughout the season whether or not he would point his way into the playoffs, because he was close to that top 16 mark, and in a I'm gonna say it, crappy car. It's nothing that you go home right home about, obviously. And even now, if you see how well Todd Gilliland is doing, not very well. I get it that he's a rookie, but he clearly outshined, and I thought he had the talent to compete, but obviously that car was not anywhere close to being a playoff car, nor a regular top 20 contender, but he was. I think John Hunter Nemechek definitely has the talent. I can't wait to see him in the Xfinity Series. I thought he would go this season, to be honest with you. I thought he proved enough, but I guess not. He's getting enough one-off rides between Sam Hunt and JGR that maybe it makes it worth it, but I don't know. Hopefully we get to see this battle. I definitely would love to see John Hunter Nemechek versus Ty Gibbs. I think it would be very entertaining. They're both the 2 most top talented young drivers, I think, so far.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I mean, right now, John Hunter is really proving us all, again, as Tom has elaborated numerous times throughout the show tonight, that it seemed to be more and more like the equipment was at fault rather than John Hunter Nemechek. It is proven that he has talent. There's no question about it now. And so maybe if he goes to a decent team next year, Ford Cup, possibly even Xfinity full time, we can really see his true potential. Especially with that battle with Ty Gibbs, that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I really think.
I think we're making too much out of this. I mean, I know Nemechek said he won't forget it, but I don't know that one incident is a rivalry. So I don't know that it's going to blossom into anything. And I do think if you're comparing the two of them, I think Ty Gibbs, I agree with Earl. Ty Gibbs is a generational talent. He's definitely the more talented of the two. But I know we're running long on time, but that brings up an interesting debate. If Ty Gibbs moves up next year, who's the odd man out at Gibbs,
No.
Which we could debate that. Maybe we'll put that as a topic to discuss next week or some other time. But yeah, that a lot of moving parts there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe they open up a different seat in their satellite camp. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Possibly.
All right. So are we up to the Martinsville preview?
Yes, we
are.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Zach, want to go first? You look really ready to take over the ring.
Sure. Whatever. They only said that because I didn't have anything written down. My pick for the Martinsville is going to be Hamlin goes back to back. That is my outrageous pick. After 0 top 10s until this past race, he goes back to back, wins Martinsville. I say William Byron finishes second. That is my picks. I think it could happen. Book it. Bet money on it. Don't bet your house on it. Just bet a couple dollars. It'll happen. You'll win maybe $1 or $2.
I mean, Hamlin's not a bad pick for Martinsville.
The Martinsville King. And then
I won't say Martinsville King.
Are you kidding me?
I wouldn't say King.
What active driver would you put over him?
Not active driver. But
Okay,
I'll say Gordon definitely outshines him.
Oh my gosh. Your technicalities. He is the king as far if anyone not named Truex, he is the king on this track. I would say Truex
Well,
would
if you're going to say not named Truex, then he's not the king.
Whatever. I would say Truex is a very, very close, very, very close, very, very close. I can't emphasize close enough. Second.
Okay, you want to hear the last six races at Martinsville?
I don't want to hear them. No.
I know you're going to say Truex twice.
Speaking of Truex, right now for the last 6 races at Martinsville, according to DriverAverages.com, Truex with a 6.17 average finish, 3 wins, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 754 laps led.
Awesome.
Denny Hamlin, 11.83 average finish, 0 wins, 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, 4 top 20s, and 451 laps led.
Well, you can add 1 win, 1 top 5, and 1 top 10 to that column after this next weekend.
I don't know. Denny Hamlin won top 5 in his last 4 at Martinsville. I'm only looking at the last 4 races.
But one driver who beats Truex is Ryan Blaney. 5.83 average finish, 0 wins, 4 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 6 top 20s, and 227 laps led. Numbers that don't really stand out as much Truex, but that average finish, though, he can get it done. And so I guess for my pick, you know what? If Richmond was the cure to JGR's racing woes, then I think Martinsville is going to be the place where Blaney finally gets that monkey off his back and gets the win. I mean, he's been really good there, all except for him getting screwed over. The last time we went to Martinsville, actually in Halloween. I think Blaine's going to get it done. I think that possibly Logano's going to get second.
What happened to your Bowman and Reddick pick?
That was for last week.
Oh. Well, then I could have picked Truex? Wow.
I mean, you still can.
Oh, my gosh. Well,
so
I thought Tom was taking
You went into that rant.
I thought Tom was taking Truex. Otherwise, I would have.
Truex.
Well, these picks need to be updated. Jeez.
But I'm picking Truex.
Okay. You got Hamlin.
Whatever.
Okay, Tom has Truex.
Keep Hamlin.
Zach,
I'm going all
Hamlin,
in. I don't care.
I'm picking Blaney.
Last 4 Martinsville races, Truex has finished 4th or better 3 out of 4 times.
And he's finishing 3rd. Book it.
So I am going with Martin Truex. I think that there is a lot of similarities between Martinsville and Richmond. They are both short tracks. They both rely heavily on a lot of braking. I think getting a car to rotate the middle of the corner is key at both tracks. They're both relatively flat for a short track. So I think there's a lot of similarities there. And I am going with Truex just because it suits him. It suits him. He's ran well there. He ran well at Richmond. Earl saying Cody Ware. And I do not believe we didn't all pick Cody Ware. I mean, you talk about an obvious clear cut, no doubt about it, bet your house on it winner. never been anyone more obvious than Cody Ware. I can't believe we all didn't pick that.
Yeah,
Do we have
you
a
know
stat
what?
line at Martinsville? I just got to read over it. Hold on.
For Cody Ware, I mean, these numbers I think do not speak justice of Cody Ware's amazing talent. That 31.33 average finish, that's just he got wrecked on like lap 2. You know, just don't ignore that. In fact, go with
He has finished ahead of where he started in the race in all but one of his races at Martinsville. And that was because of brakes. Obviously, you need a lot of brakes at Martinsville.
No,
So,
you don't say.
Just saying. And if you look at driver averages, they rate drivers, right? He has gotten above a 20 average rating every single race that he's run. I don't know where that ranks him, but that has to rank him near Hall of Fame level.
Mike Hora asking, is Dinger running this weekend? And I'm looking at the entry list for Martinsville. He's on it. I'm looking at the NASCAR app, and he is listed number 16, Colleague Racing, AJ Allmendinger. So apparently he is going to be running this weekend.
Oh, I also think Chastain's probably going to be taken out. He's probably going to move somebody too aggressively.
It's Martinsville. That's kind of a requirement.
Yeah. But anyway, I think Adam Lauer said something about not Hamlin, Blaney being doomed now that Simolian's picked him.
What?
But yeah, I would have to agree. I hope for Tom and I's sake you pick somebody else.
Adam Lauer wanting to know, is Cody Ware a dark horse? No, but a guy riding a dark horse has a better shot of winning than Cody Ware. I'll tell you that.
Honestly, I wish we were joking with that.
So, wow, this is a tidbit information. Justin Marks ran for Rick Ware Racing. I don't know when, but he has the highest average finish out of every single driver that has competed for Rick Ware Racing before. He started 29th and ended up 12th. Top 20 finish.
Wow.
How about that?
And led a lap.
That's even more amazing.
Look at that. Now his actual Cup team is doing really well and leading laps and winning races. So shouldn't have let him go. That's all I got to say about that one.
Nope, should not let him go.
Okay. All right. I think we are up to our parting comments for the night. All right. Who wants to go first?
Not me. I've gone first every single time. Somebody else go.
All right.
Yeah, no, you haven't.
I want to personally thank our viewers, and I can personally thank them because it's Adam, it's Mike, it's Earl. Thank all three of you for tuning in because that's all we've got right now. So I can literally, personally thank every one of our viewers for tuning in. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And that's all I've got.
I'm still working on mine.
Let's go with you since Zach looks like he's looking something up.
Alrighty, and I've just now noticed that Zach is wearing a Florida Gators sweatshirt, and even though I really want to just burn it, being a Tennessee fan,
it's okay.
There was a report that came out, I think, a few days ago, where there's a Gator down in Florida that had a football in his mouth. And according to reporters, it went up to the campus of Florida of the University of Florida to try and be a walk-on their football team as a running back, I think.
I'm not tackling every.
Probably would do better than any Tennessee running back.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes in September. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that might be a little illegal, just a little bit. So hey, you know what, Zach? I hope that Gator works out for you, man.
Thank you. Yeah, look. He's top 10 prospect in Florida. He has great what is it? A great family tree. Good bloodline. I see no reason why he can't carry the rock for us and maybe win a Heisman. I don't know. Is Heisman too much? I don't think so.
I think it's a little
No,
ambitious.
there's a reason when a receiver won't go over the middle and reach out to get the ball that they say he's got alligator arms. Not gonna make it. Running backs today need to be dual threats. So I really think that's one less person you got to defend in the passing game. I don't think it's going to work out for Florida.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I hope you're wrong though. Oh God, my parting comment. Still trying to figure it out. Whatever. Lots of different news. Something sports related, but not sports related. Rapper Rick Ross bought one of Jimmy Johnson's championship cars. 48 Cobalt Tool, gray, whatever. Anyway, it's not very often that you. Obviously nowadays we're seeing more and more. Michael Jordan, other famous celebrities, Pitbull, embracing the NASCAR culture. You can add Rick Ross into that one, showing off his cool Jimmy Johnson Cobalt Chevy championship winning car. Must have cost a lot of money. But
I was going to say, do we know
come
how
on,
much a
Matthew.
championship car goes for these days?
And I have no clue.
I can only imagine 7 or 8 figures.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably close to
Possibly
that.
9.
But he has enough money for it. I mean, if you guys want to see, he drives around in it.
Wait, he drives around in it?
Yeah, it has an engine and everything.
Did he make it street legal? Because I don't think those cars are street legal.
No, this is on his farm.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, if he made that legal, then props to him.
Yeah, there's no way this is legal. But man, would I want to own one of those. There's probably still something illegal on that car. Forgot to take off. Anyway,
I mean, it's a car made by Chad Canal, so of course, hell, probably the whole car is illegal.
Anyway, that is my parting comment.
I mean, help.
Peace,
I imagine the headlight decals are illegal.
Peace, love, harmony, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, Motorsports Games, maker of NASCAR 21, their stock down to $1.33 today.
Shocker.
Yeah. 52-week high. That stock at one point was worth $24.19. So the value of the company is the stock price times how many shares were outstanding. At its peak of $24, the company was worth $282 million. It's now worth $11 million.
I mean, I'd rather have.
Soon to be worth $11. Period. Would be my guess.
And depending on how the next game comes out, it could be worth 11 cents.
Could be.
Look, I'd rather have $11 million rather than none. But for a multi-million-dollar company like Motorsports Games, you would think that they would do a little bit better.
Yeah, to go from $282 million down to $11 million, that's a shot.
Somebody should be getting laid off.
Yeah, I cannot imagine investors are happy.
Nope.
Thank God I'm not investing.
Yeah, thank God.
You know how much sympathy I have for them?
I stayed away from that game.
0.
Absolute 0.
Look, none of us are gonna get a free copy of that game, or any other game from
That's
Motorsports.
fine.
I don't give a crap.
On a brighter note, did you guys see that iRacing owns? Who is it that they own?
They own
Monster
Motorsports
Games, I think.
Monster Games.
Oh, Monster Games. Right.
And they announced that they are coming out with a World of Outlaws sprint car game in the fall.
For console, from what I heard.
For console, yes.
Yep.
That could be interesting.
I am
That could be
excited
very
for that
interesting.
though. Give me iRacing physics on console.
And
Please.
they haven't announced anything else, and I don't know if it will have iRacing physics or not because I don't know, and I don't know anything about this. Can you do iRacing physics when a console gamer does just take up too much memory? I don't know.
That's
I
possible.
honestly don't know, but that would be very
I mean,
cool.
I mean, with the technology that Xbox and or Microsoft and Sony are putting into their like Xbox and PlayStation consoles, it's getting the gap from like PC to console is narrowing. Is getting narrower and narrower. It seems like each and every year.
So, all right.
So I think one day would be possible.
So, all right. With that, we probably need to sign off and wrap this up for the night. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. It has been a lot of fun, and we will catch you guys some other time. But we are out of here for tonight. See y'all later.
All right. Bye, y'all.
See you guys. Have fun. Be safe.